The text message glowed cold against Naraya's trembling fingers. 3 words. No name. No explanation. Did he hurt you? Her breath caught. She hadn't told anyone. Not her sister. Not the other servers. Not even herself, really. She'd locked it away the second Kazuma's hand slid too low on her waist during closing shift, his whiskey breath hot against her neck as he cornered her by the walk-in freezer. Rain hammered against her apartment window. Somewhere outside, sirens wailed through Harlem's late-night chaos. The radiator clanked. Her phone buzzed again. Answer me, Naraya. Her heart slammed against her ribs. Whoever this was knew her name. Knew what happened tonight. Knew she was alone. The stack of overdue bills on her coffee table blurred as tears burned her eyes. Rent. Her sister Amara's tutoring program. The electricity bill with the red stamp screaming final notice. She'd endured Kazuma's hands, his threats, his disgusting promises because she needed that job, because survival didn't care about dignity. Hi, viewers. Kindly tell us where you're watching from and what time it is. Lightning split the sky white. For half a second, her fifth-floor window reflected everything. Her exhausted face, the flickering hallway light bleeding under her door, the shadows that suddenly seemed too sharp. Her phone died, screen black. The knock came before she could breathe. 3 hard raps, knuckles on wood, deliberate, controlled. Naria froze. Nobody visited her. Nobody knew this address except her landlord and Amara. Her sister was in Atlanta, safe, far from here. Another knock, harder. She moved toward the door on legs that barely held her weight. 12-hour shifts left her bones aching, but fear did something worse. It made everything crystal clear. The peeling paint on her doorframe, the rust on the chain lock, the fact that chain locks didn't stop determined men. Who is it? Her voice cracked. Silence. Then, low, quiet, dangerously calm, a voice that didn't belong in her world. Open the door, Naria. Her hand hovered over the deadbolt. This was insane. This was how women disappeared. This was how stories ended badly, but something in that voice wasn't threatening. It was certain. Like gravity. Like inevitability. She opened the door. The man standing in her hallway didn't belong there. Rain dripped from his black hair, plastered against his forehead. His shirt clung to broad shoulders, soaked through, revealing the edge of ink crawling up his neck. Bold lines, sharp angles. The kind of tattoo that meant something permanent. His eyes locked onto hers. Dark, unreadable, intense enough to stop her breath. He was beautiful in the way storms were beautiful. Dangerous, impossible to look away from. You're Naraya Brooks. Not a question, a statement. She couldn't move, couldn't think. Did Kazuma touch you tonight? The world tilted. This stranger knew Kazuma, knew what happened, knew things she'd buried under exhaustion and fear. I don't know you. Her voice came out smaller than she wanted. Rikuya Hanzo. He stepped closer, not threatening, protective. Like he was blocking something she couldn't see. I own the restaurant. Kazuma works for me, and I need to know. Did he hurt you? Own the restaurant? Kazuma's boss was some old Italian man who never showed his face. This guy looked 30, maybe 32. Sharp jaw, controlled movements. Everything about him screamed power wrapped in patience. I'm fine. The lie tasted bitter. His eyes narrowed. He studied her face like he was reading a language she didn't know she spoke. The bruise forming on her wrist, the way she held her shoulders too tight, the exhaustion carved into every line of her body. You're not. He said it gently, factually, like pointing out the rain. And Kazuma's missing. Her blood went cold. Missing? He didn't show up for his shift, didn't answer his phone, left his car in the parking garage with the driver's side door open. Rikuya's jaw tightened. Security footage shows him leaving right after you. Followed your bus route. Got off at your stop. Naria's apartment suddenly felt smaller. The walls pressed in. Kazuma knew where she lived. Had followed her home. Was out there somewhere, angry, drunk, vindictive. Why are you telling me this? She whispered. Because in about 30 seconds, 3 men are going to come up those stairs. Rikuya's voice stayed calm. deadly calm. And they're not looking for me. Her heart stopped. What? His phone buzzed. He glanced at the screen. His expression didn't change, but something shifted in his posture. Coiled tension. Readiness. They're here. Footsteps echoed in the stairwell. Heavy boots, multiple pairs, climbing fast. Naraya's world fractured into sharp pieces. This wasn't real. This was a nightmare dressed as her life. She worked at a restaurant, served rich people overpriced steaks, smiled through harassment because bills didn't care about self-respect. She wasn't supposed to be prey. Rikuya moved, not rushed, not panicked. He stepped fully into her apartment, closing the door behind him with a quiet click. His presence filled the space, calm, certain, immovable. "Stay behind me," he said softly. "Who are you?" Her voice shook. He looked at her then, really looked. And for a split second, she saw something raw beneath the control. Something human. Someone who should have fired Kazuma months ago. The footsteps stopped outside her door. A fist pounded hard enough to rattle the frame. "Naria Brooks, open up. We just want to talk." Have you ever felt danger before it arrived? Drop a comment below. Rikuya's hand moved to the small of his back. Naraya caught the glint of metal tucked against his spine before his shirt fell back into place. A gun. This man had a gun in her apartment. "Don't speak," he murmured. "Don't move." The pounding came again, harder. "We know you're in there, sweetheart. Kazuma said you'd be home." Her stomach dropped. Kazuma sent them. Kazuma, who'd threatened her, cornered her, promised he'd make her regret every time she said no, had sent armed men to her door. Rikuya stepped forward, unlocked the deadbolt, opened the door exactly 6 inches. 3 men crowded the hallway. Leather jackets, gold chains. The kind of guys who thought muscle made them dangerous. The one in front grinned. Yellow teeth, scar above his eyebrow, breath that probably smelled like cigarettes and cheap liquor. "There she is." His eyes slid past Rikuya like he wasn't there. "Kazuma wants to finish the conversation you started." "No." Rikuya's voice cut clean. One word. "Absolute." The man finally looked at him. Really looked. And something flickered across his face. Recognition, maybe. Or doubt. "Who the hell are you?" "The person who's going to tell you to leave." Rikuya didn't raise his voice. Didn't need to. Every syllable carried weight. Once, politely. The second man laughed. Nervous, forced. "You got balls, man, but this ain't your business." "She works at my restaurant." Rikuya shifted slightly. Naria couldn't see his face anymore, but the men in the hallway could. Whatever expression he wore made all 3 of them go still. "That makes it my business." "Your restaurant?" The leader's grin faltered. "You mean..." I sign the checks that pay Kazuma." "And you?" Rikuya tilted his head. "You want to tell me why you're harassing my employees off duty?" Silence. Thick. Tense. The men exchanged glances. The hallway suddenly felt colder. "Look, man, we didn't know..." "Now you do." Rikuya's tone didn't change. Still quiet. Still controlled. But something underneath made Naraya's skin prickle. "You're going to walk back down those stairs, get in whatever car you drove, and tell Kazuma that Naraya Brooks is off limits, permanently." The leader's jaw clenched. Pride versus survival. Naraya watched the calculation happen in real time. "And if we don't?" Rikuya smiled. It didn't reach his eyes. "Then I'll make sure the only conversation you finish tonight is with NYPD. I've got security footage of you following her home, threatening her, trespassing. Want me to keep going?" The third man, the quiet one, grabbed the leader's arm, whispered something fast and urgent. The leader's face drained of color. "Shit, you're..." "Leaving," Rikuya finished. "Now." They left, boots echoing down the stairs, fast. A car door slammed outside, engine roared to life. Tires screeched. Rikuya closed the door, locked it, turned back to Naraya. She stood frozen against her kitchen counter, hands gripping the edge hard enough to hurt. Her entire body shook. Adrenaline, terror, disbelief. What just happened? She breathed. They're gone. He pulled out his phone, typed something fast. For now. For now? Her voice pitched higher. What does that mean? Who were they? Why did they? Kazuma told them you got him in trouble. Rikuya met her eyes. He's escalating, using fear to control you. I didn't do anything. Her vision blurred. Tears burned hot. I just wanted to work. I just wanted to survive. I know. Something in his expression softened. Not pity, understanding. That's why I'm here. You don't even know me. I know enough. He pocketed his phone. You showed up every shift on time. Never complained. Smiled at customers even when they didn't deserve it. And last week when Kazuma knocked over a tray near the kitchen. I cleaned it up. The memory came sharp. Kazuma had blamed a new server, threatened to dock her pay. Naria had quietly taken the fall to protect the girl. He would have fired her. Exactly. Rikuya's voice dropped. You protect people, even when it costs you. The words hit strange. Too accurate. Too close. Why do you care? She asked. He hesitated. For the first time since walking into her apartment, Rikuya Hanzo looked uncertain. Vulnerable. Like the armor cracked just enough to show the person underneath. Because you looked at me like I was human. Naria blinked. What? 2 weeks ago, I came to inspect the restaurant. You were at the host stand. I was late, frustrated. Everyone else avoided eye contact. He stepped closer. Not invasive. Careful. You looked me in the eye and asked if I was okay. She remembered. Vaguely. A man in expensive clothes looking exhausted. She'd offered him water. A quiet place to sit. Basic human decency. I thought you were a customer, she whispered. I know. His lips curved, almost a smile. That's why it mattered. Her phone buzzed on the counter. Both of them looked. The screen lit up with a new message. Unknown number. Same as before. You can't protect her forever, Hanzo. She belongs to me. Naria's breath stopped. Rikuya's jaw turned to stone. Pack a bag, he said quietly. You're coming with me. Would you trust a dangerous stranger to protect you? Let us know in the comments. Naria didn't move. Her brain stuttered over the words like a scratched record. Pack a bag, coming with him. Like this was normal, like men didn't use protection as control. I'm not going anywhere with you. Her voice shook but held. Rikuya's phone buzzed. Once, twice, 3 times in rapid succession. He glanced at the screen. His expression didn't change, but his knuckles went white around the phone. Kazuma's not working alone anymore. He turned the phone toward her. 3 photos. Time-stamped 20 minutes ago. The first showed her building's entrance. The second showed her mailbox, her name visible on the label. The third showed Amara, her baby sister, 17 years old. Standing outside her tutoring center in Atlanta with her backpack and headphones, completely unaware someone was watching. Naria's world collapsed into a single point of clarity. They knew about Amara. No. The word came out broken. No, she's not involved. She's just a kid. I know. Rikuya's voice stayed calm, anchored. Which is why you're going to pack a bag. I'll have security outside her building in Atlanta within 30 minutes. But you need to be somewhere Kazuma can't reach. Why is this happening? Tears streamed hot down her face. I just serve food. I just work. I don't... Kazuma's embezzling from the restaurant. Rikuya cut through her panic with facts. Cold. Clear. He's been skimming profits for 8 months, selling reservation slots to rival groups. When I started investigating, he panicked. Started covering his tracks. What does that have to do with me? You rejected him. Rikuya's eyes hardened. Multiple times. In front of staff. He's a narcissist with a fragile ego. He can't accept being told no by someone he considers beneath him. The truth tasted like bile. She'd embarrassed him, made him feel small. And now he was retaliating with everything he had. So he's going to hurt my sister because I wouldn't sleep with him. Her voice cracked. He's going to use her as leverage to make you comply. Rikuya stepped closer, close enough she could see the rain still drying on his collar. Unless I remove you from the equation first. Naria's hands trembled. Every instinct screamed not to trust him. He was a stranger. A dangerous stranger with guns and power and connections she didn't understand. But Amara's face was on that phone. Frozen in time. Vulnerable. If I go with you, she stays safe. I give you my word. Your word? A hysterical laugh bubbled up. I don't even know you. Then know this. Rikuya's voice dropped. Quiet, lethal. I don't make promises I can't keep. I don't protect people halfway. And I don't forgive men who threaten women to feel powerful. Something in his tone sent chills down her spine. Not fear, recognition. This man had seen violence, had been violence, and right now he was offering to be violence on her behalf. How long? She whispered. Until Kazuma's arrested or neutralized. 2 days, maybe 3. And then? Then you decide if you want to go back to your life. His eyes held hers. Or start a different one. Her phone buzzed again. Another message. This one had a photo attachment. Naria's stomach turned before she even looked. Kazuma. Grinning, holding a knife. Standing in what looked like a basement. Blood on his shirt. Whose blood? The caption read, Tick-tock, Ria, I'm getting impatient. Rikuya saw it. His jaw clenched so hard she heard his teeth grind. 5 minutes, he said quietly. Pack essentials. Clothes for 3 days, medications. Anything you can't replace. Naria moved on autopilot. Grabbed her duffel bag from the closet. Jeans, shirts, underwear. Her sister's photo from the nightstand. Phone charger. The small knife she kept under her pillow. Not much, but something. Rikuya made 3 phone calls while she packed. Each conversation was brief, clipped, authoritative. Atlanta address, 17-year-old female. High priority. I don't care if he's off duty. Pull him back. No, she doesn't leave the building until I say so. Amar would be terrified, confused, but safe. That was all that mattered. Naria zipped the bag, looked around her apartment. This tiny space had been survival, had been freedom from her mother's boyfriend's house in Atlanta, had been proof she could make it alone. Now it felt like a trap she'd been living in without knowing. Ready? Rikuya asked. No. She grabbed her coat. But let's go anyway. They stepped into the hallway. The building felt different now. Every shadow held weight. Every sound echoed threat. Rikuya moved in front of her, scanning, alert. His hand stayed near his back where the gun pressed against his spine. The stairwell was empty. Their footsteps echoed down 5 flights. Naria's heart hammered against her ribs. At the ground floor, Rikuya held up a hand. Stopped her. He checked his phone. Frowned. What? She whispered. Security footage shows a black SUV parked across the street. Engine running. 2 occupants. Kazuma's guys? Probably. He typed something. My driver's 3 minutes out. 3 minutes? Naria's voice pitched. They could... The building's front door crashed open. 2 men. Same leather jackets as before. But these weren't the same guys. These were bigger, meaner. And they weren't here to talk. There you are. The taller one smiled. Kazuma sends his regards. Rikuya moved fast, shoved Naraya behind him. His voice came out cold, dead. Last chance, walk away. Can't do that, boss. The man pulled something from his jacket. Metal glinted in the dim lobby light. See, Kazuma's paying us more than you ever did, and all we gotta do is bring back the girl. Rikuya didn't flinch. You're not laying a finger on her. Guess we'll see about that. The man lunged. Could you stay calm in a moment like this? Comment below. Rikuya moved like water. Smooth, inevitable. The first man swung wild, adrenaline over technique. Rikuya sidestepped, grabbed his wrist mid-arc, twisted hard enough that bone cracked. The knife clattered to the floor. The man screamed. The second attacker rushed forward. Bigger, slower. Rikuya drove his elbow into the man's throat. A wet, choking sound. The guy staggered back, gasping. It took 6 seconds, maybe 7. Both men were on the ground, writhing, beaten. Rikuya didn't look winded. He picked up the knife, examined it, tossed it into a corner like trash. Naria stood frozen against the mailboxes. Her breath came in short bursts. Her brain couldn't process what she'd just watched. This man, this stranger who'd shown up at her door, had just dismantled 2 armed men without breaking a sweat. "You okay?" He turned to her, calm, controlled, like nothing had happened. "You just—" She couldn't finish the sentence. "I warned them." His tone carried no emotion, just fact. They chose poorly. A black Mercedes pulled up outside, sleek. Tinted windows. The driver, a woman with sharp eyes and sharper posture, stepped out. Opened the back door. "That's us." Rikuya gestured. "Now." Naraya's legs moved. She didn't remember deciding to walk. But suddenly she was outside in the rain, sliding into leather seats that smelled like money and danger. Rikuya climbed in beside her. The door closed. The world outside muted. "Drive," he told the woman. "Penthouse, back route." "Yes, sir." The car pulled away smooth, fast, professional. Naraya pressed against the window, watched her building disappear. The men were still on the lobby floor. One was trying to crawl toward the door, the other wasn't moving. "Are they—" She couldn't say the word. "Alive." Rikuya checked his phone. "Injured? Humiliated? But alive. You could have killed them." "Yes." He didn't look at her. "But you wouldn't have wanted me to." The statement hit strange. True. This man she barely knew had read her well enough to know she didn't want blood on her conscience, even blood shed to protect her. "How did you know?" she whispered. "Know what?" "That I'd hate it. The violence." Rikuya finally looked at her. Rain streaked the window behind him. City lights painted his face in shifting shadows. "Because when I walked into the restaurant 3 weeks ago, you apologized to a customer who spilled wine on himself." His voice softened. "You blamed yourself for putting the glass too close to the edge. Even though he was drunk. Even though he grabbed your wrist when you tried to clean it up." She remembered. The man had been handsy, aggressive. Kazuma had laughed, told her to smile more, make the customer happy. "You saw that?" "I see everything that happens in my restaurants." Rikuya's jaw tightened. "And I've been watching Kazuma for months. Why didn't you fire him sooner?" "I needed evidence. Financial crimes require paper trails, witnesses, time." He paused. "I didn't know he'd escalate to physical threats. If I had—" "You would have what?" Naria's voice sharpened. "Protected me? You don't even know me. I know you're kind in a world that punishes kindness. I know you work yourself to exhaustion to keep your sister in school. I know you deserve better than being afraid to go home at night." His eyes held hers. "And I know I'm part of the reason you were afraid, because I didn't act fast enough." Guilt. That's what she heard in his voice. This powerful, dangerous man felt guilty for not saving her sooner. "This isn't your fault," she said quietly. "Isn't it?" Bitterness crept in. "I own the restaurant. I hired Kazuma. I ignored the complaints because I thought I could handle it quietly, professionally." He looked away. "I was wrong." The car turned onto a bridge. Manhattan's skyline glittered ahead. Glass towers piercing the storm. Wealth stacked vertical. "Where are we going?" Naria asked. "Somewhere safe." "That's not an answer." "My penthouse." He said it matter of fact. Top floor, private elevator. Security on every entry point. Nobody gets in without clearance. A penthouse? Of course, because this nightmare wasn't surreal enough. "I can't stay with you." The protest sounded weak even to her own ears. You can't go home. You can't go to Amara. You can't go anywhere Kazuma might look. Rikuya's logic was airtight, infuriating. Unless you have a better suggestion? She didn't. Her savings account had maybe $800. Not enough for a hotel. Not enough to run. Barely enough to survive if she lost her job. What do you want from me? The question came out raw. Rikuya frowned. Want from you? Men don't help for free. Exhaustion made her blunt. You're protecting me. Housing me. What's the price? His expression shifted. Hurt flashed across his face before the mask returned. When he spoke, his voice was quiet, careful. I want you to be safe. That's all. Nobody does that without a reason. My reason is that you treated me like a person when everyone else treated me like a threat. He held her gaze. You asked if I was okay. Nobody asks me that. Nobody looks past. He gestured vaguely at himself. This. Past what? The tattoos. The reputation. The name. He leaned back. My family has a certain presence in this city. People either fear me or want something from me. You did neither. What's your family do? Investments, real estate, import-export. The words were smooth, practiced, probably true but incomplete. We have reach. Reach. What a careful word for power. The car pulled into an underground garage. Concrete, steel. Security cameras everywhere. The driver parked next to a private elevator. Gold doors, keycard access. This way. Rikuya stepped out. Offered his hand. Naria hesitated. Looked at his hand. Strong, scarred knuckles, steady. She took it. The elevator rose in silence. 30 floors, 40, 50. Her ears popped. The city shrank below them. The doors opened directly into the penthouse. Floor-to-ceiling windows, Manhattan sprawled infinite and glittering, minimalist furniture, dark wood, clean lines, everything expensive, everything controlled. Guest room is down the hall. Rikuya set her bag on a chair. Bathroom, fresh towels. Help yourself to anything in the kitchen? Naria stood in the center of the room, lost, overwhelmed. 12 hours ago, she'd been serving overpriced pasta to tourists. Now she was hiding in a penthouse from her psychotic manager while a tattooed stranger promised protection. Why does this feel like a dream? She whispered. Because it's safer than reality. Rikuya moved toward the windows, stood with his back to her. I'm sorry you're here, Naria, but I'm not sorry you're safe. Her phone buzzed. She pulled it out. Another message. Kazuma. The photo made her stomach heave. He was holding Amara's student ID, grinning. Caption: Found something of yours. Naria's knees buckled. Rikuya caught her before she hit the floor. Amara, the word broke. He has something of hers. He's going to... Breathe. Rikuya's hand steadied her shoulders. My security picked her up 20 minutes ago. She's at a safe house in Atlanta with 2 guards. He doesn't have her. He has an old ID. Probably stole it from her school. How do you know? Because if he actually had her, he wouldn't text you. He'd call. Make you listen to her scream. His voice stayed calm. Clinical. This is psychological warfare. He's trying to break you. It's working. Tears streamed hot and fast. I know. Rikuya's thumb brushed her cheek. Gentle. Brief. Then he stepped back. But you're still standing. That means he hasn't won yet. Her phone rang. Unknown number. Rikuya grabbed it before she could react. Answered. Put it on speaker. Nariah Brooks's phone. His voice went cold. Empty. Silence. Then Kazuma's laugh. Wet. Manic. Hanzo, didn't think you'd actually get involved. You made it my business when you touched my employee. Your employee? Kazuma's voice pitched. She's mine. I trained her. I gave her shifts. I made her. You harassed her, threatened her, stalked her. Rikuya's tone didn't change. And now you're finished. Big words from a man hiding behind money. Kazuma spat the words. You think you're untouchable? You think you can just take what's mine? She was never yours. We'll see about that. The line went dead. Rikuya stared at the phone. Then, with controlled precision, he threw it against the wall. It shattered. Glass and plastic scattered across marble. That was my phone, Naraya said numbly. I'll buy you 10. He turned to her. But he's not calling you again. He's going to keep coming, isn't he? Rikuya's expression was stone. Yes. Then what do we do? His eyes met hers. Dark, certain, dangerous. We make sure he regrets ever learning your name. What would you do in her position? Let us know below. Naria didn't sleep. How could she? Every time she closed her eyes, she saw Kazuma's face, heard his voice, felt his hands. The guest room was beautiful. King bed, soft sheets, windows overlooking the city, but it felt like a cage made of silk. She wandered out around 3 in the morning, found Rikuya on the balcony. He stood at the railing, suit jacket gone, sleeves rolled up, tattoos visible in the dim light, dragons, geometric patterns, something written in Japanese characters across his forearm. He didn't turn when she approached. Can't sleep? Can you? She leaned against the glass door. Sleep is a luxury. He took a sip from a glass of something amber. I stopped indulging in luxuries a long time ago. But you live in a penthouse? There's a difference between wealth and luxury. He glanced at her. One is survival, the other is weakness. Naria moved closer. The night air was cold. She wrapped her arms around herself. What does that mean? It means I learned early that comfort makes you vulnerable. Rikuya's voice was quiet. And vulnerability gets you killed. Sounds lonely. It is. No hesitation. Just truth. They stood in silence. The city hummed below, traffic, sirens. Life continuing while hers had stopped. Can I ask you something? Naria said. Yes. Why did you really come to my apartment tonight? Rikuya's jaw tightened. He set his glass down, turned to face her fully. Because I saw the security footage from this afternoon. Kazuma cornered you in the supply room. You tried to leave. He blocked the door. You said no 3 times. He didn't care. His voice stayed level, but fury simmered underneath. And when you finally pushed past him, you went into the bathroom and cried for 6 minutes. Naria's breath caught. You watched that? I watch everything. He stepped closer. And when I saw you leave the restaurant, saw how you kept looking over your shoulder, how you flinched when a man brushed past you on the subway, I knew I couldn't wait until Monday to fire him. So you came to warn me? I came to protect you. The distinction mattered to him. She could see it in his eyes. Because you deserve someone on your side. You don't know me well enough to say that. Don't I? He tilted his head. You've worked at the restaurant for 8 months. Never late, never complained. You covered shifts for sick coworkers, gave your tips to the busboy whose daughter needed surgery. You apologized to customers who were rude to you. You smiled through harassment because you needed the money. His voice softened. I know enough. Naria's throat tightened. You've been watching me for 8 months? I've been watching everyone. You just stood out. Why? Because everyone else wants something. Power, money, status, revenge. He paused. You just want to survive. And there's something honest about that. She didn't know what to say. This man, this dangerous, powerful, complicated man, had seen her. Really seen her. Not as prey or a conquest or a burden. As a person fighting to stay afloat. What happens now? She asked quietly. Now we wait. For what? For Kazuma to make his next move. He's impulsive, emotional. He'll slip up. Rikuya's eyes hardened. And when he does, I'll end this. How? However I need to. The promise in those words sent ice through her veins. Not fear, something else. Relief, maybe. The knowledge that someone with power was finally using it for her instead of against her. I don't want you to hurt him, she said carefully. I know. But I want him stopped. I know that too. Rikuya studied her face. You're not weak for wanting peace. You're strong for demanding it. No one had ever called her strong. Capable, maybe? Hardworking? But strong? That felt like a word for other people. People who didn't cry in restaurant bathrooms. People who didn't endure harassment for minimum wage and tips. I don't feel strong, she admitted. Strength isn't about how you feel. It's about what you do despite how you feel. His hand rose, hesitated, then gently tucked a curl behind her ear. You got out of bed every day knowing Kazuma would be there. You smiled at customers who didn't see you as human. You sent money to your sister instead of saving for yourself. That's strength. His hand lingered, warm, rough with calluses. She should step back, should maintain distance. But she didn't want to. For the first time in months, she felt safe. Rikuya? Her voice came out barely a whisper. Yes? Thank you. His expression softened. You don't need to thank me. Yes, I do. She held his gaze. Because you didn't have to care. You could have just fired him and moved on. But you came to my door in the rain. You stood between me and men with weapons. You protected my sister. Her voice cracked. Nobody's ever done that for me. Something shifted in his eyes. Pain, recognition, like her words touched a wound he kept hidden. My mother was like you, he said quietly. Kind, hardworking. Took care of everyone else before herself. He looked away. And people took advantage of that, used her, hurt her, until she couldn't fight anymore. What happened to her? She walked away from my father's world, tried to build something normal, safe. His jaw clenched, but his enemies found her anyway, used her to get to him. By the time he realized, it was too late. Naria's heart broke for the boy he must have been, watching his mother pay for his father's choices. I'm sorry, she whispered. Don't be. He turned back to her. Just understand why I can't let history repeat itself. I'm not your mother. No, you're not. He stepped closer, close enough she could feel the heat radiating off him. But you're someone worth protecting, and I don't say that lightly. The moment stretched. Fragile. Heavy. Naraya's heart hammered against her ribs. She should move, should say something. But all she could do was stare at this man who'd crashed into her life like a storm and somehow made her feel safer than she'd felt in years. Rikuya's phone buzzed. He pulled it out, checked the screen. His expression went dark. What? Naria asked. Kazuma just posted something on social media. He turned the phone toward her. The photo showed the restaurant. Empty dining room, chairs stacked. But written across the mirror behind the bar in what looked like red lipstick. She's mine. Hanzo can't hide her forever. Below the photo, a caption. Some people don't know when to let go. Guess I'll have to teach them. Naria's blood went cold. He broke into the restaurant? Looks like it. Rikuya was already dialing. Security should have caught this. Someone's not doing their job. The call connected. This is Hanzo. Pull footage from the restaurant, last 2 hours. Find out who let him in. I don't care what shift change protocol says. Someone gave him access. Check the staff roster. See who clocked in tonight that shouldn't have been there. He ended the call, ran a hand through his hair. For the first time since she'd met him, Rikuya looked frustrated, vulnerable. He has help, Naria said. Inside the restaurant. Appears so. He typed something on his phone. Which means I can't trust my own security team. What do we do? We move. He was already walking back inside. Pack your things. We're leaving. Leaving? Where? I have a secondary location. Off the grid. Only 3 people know about it. He grabbed his jacket. And I trust all 3 with my life. Naria followed him inside. Her mind raced. This was escalating faster than she could process. Kazuma wasn't just threatening her. He was challenging Rikuya publicly, making it personal. This is about more than me, isn't it? She asked. Rikuya paused, looked at her. Yes. What is it really about? Control, power, ego. He zipped his bag. Kazuma's been embezzling from me for months. I was closing in on him. He knew it. Using you was his way of distracting me, making me choose between business and... He stopped. And what? You. The word came out quiet. Final. He's betting I'll sacrifice you to protect my reputation, my business, my family's name. And will you? Rikuya crossed the space between them in 3 strides. His hands cupped her face, gentle but firm. His eyes burned with intensity that stole her breath. I would burn every restaurant I own before I let him touch you again. His voice was low, fierce. Do you understand me? She nodded. Couldn't speak. Couldn't breathe. Good. He released her, stepped back. Because the next 48 hours are going to be dangerous. Kazuma's not going to stop. And I need to know you trust me. I don't know you well enough to trust you. Then trust this. He held her gaze. I have never failed to protect someone I've given my word to. And I gave you my word. His phone buzzed again. This time he didn't look at it. Just grabbed both their bags and headed for the door. Let's go. Naraya followed. What choice did she have? Go back to her apartment where Kazuma's men waited? Run to Atlanta and put Amara in danger? Stay here and wait for Kazuma to find a way in? No. Her only option was forward. Into the unknown. With a man she barely knew but somehow trusted more than anyone else in her life right now. The private elevator descended. Rikuya stood rigid, alert. His hand stayed near his weapon. Can I ask you something? Naraya said. Always. Why do you carry a gun? Because words don't stop bullets. He glanced at her. And I've made enemies who prefer bullets to conversation. That's a depressing way to live. It's a realistic way to survive. The elevator doors opened. Underground garage. Different car this time. Sleek, black, tinted windows. I didn't choose this life, Naraya. I inherited it. But I've learned to navigate it. They climbed in. A different driver, older man, scarred face, eyes that had seen violence. He nodded at Rikuya. Said nothing. Started the engine. The car pulled out into the pre-dawn darkness. Streets were empty. The city felt hollow, like they were the last 2 people left. Where are we going? Naraya asked again. Hudson Valley. Private property. Secure. Rikuya checked his phone. We'll be there in 90 minutes. And then? Then we figure out how to end this without anyone else getting hurt. You mean without me getting hurt? I mean without anyone I care about getting hurt. He met her eyes. Which includes you. The words hit different this time. Heavier, more real. This wasn't just protection. This was personal. He cared. About her. A woman he barely knew. Why? She asked. Why do you care about me? Rikuya was quiet for a long moment. The car hummed. The city blurred past. Because you reminded me what it feels like to be human. His voice was barely audible. And I didn't realize how much I'd missed it until you looked at me and saw a person instead of a weapon. Naraya's chest tightened. This man, this dangerous, powerful, broken man, was human. Under the tattoos and the control and the violence, he was just a person trying to survive his own demons. I see you, she whispered. His hand found hers in the darkness, squeezed once, gentle, brief. I know. The car drove north, away from the city, away from Kazuma, away from everything familiar. And for the first time since this nightmare started, Naraya felt something other than fear. She felt hope. Maybe they would survive this. Maybe, just maybe, she'd found someone who wouldn't let her fall. The sun rose behind them, painting the sky in shades of pink and gold. But ahead, storm clouds gathered, and Rikuya's phone buzzed one last time. He looked at the screen. His expression went deadly calm. What? Naraya asked. He showed her. A video, Kazuma, standing in what looked like a warehouse, holding a gun, smiling. 24 hours, Hanzo. Bring her to me, or I start hurting people you actually care about, starting with your brother's fiancé. The video ended. Naraya's world tilted. He's going to hurt innocent people? He's going to try. Rikuya's voice was ice. But he's also just given me exactly what I need. What's that? A location. He zoomed in on the video background. That warehouse. I know where it is. So what do we do? Rikuya looked at her, and in his eyes, she saw the predator beneath the protector. We hunt. If you were Nariya, would you trust him? Comment below and let us know where you're watching from. The warehouse footage played on repeat. Rikuya watched it 17 times. Each viewing revealed something new. A shadow in the corner, the angle of light through a broken window, the sound of trains in the background. Red Hook, he said finally. Brooklyn, near the freight yards. Nariya sat across from him in the safe house living room. Log cabin, isolated. Trees surrounded them like sentries. No neighbors for 3 miles. The kind of place where screams wouldn't carry. How can you tell? She asked. The graffiti on the wall behind him. That tag belongs to a crew that only operates in Red Hook. He zoomed in further. And that's the sound of the R train. Elevated tracks. Timing between passes puts it within a 4-block radius. You learned all that from a 10-second video? I learned to read violence before I learned to read books. He set the phone down. My father made sure of it. The admission hung heavy. Nariya wanted to ask more, wanted to understand the boy who became this man, but his expression said the door had closed. So we know where he is, she said instead. Now what? Now I make a call. Rikuya pulled out a different phone. Burner, maybe. Untraceable. And we find out exactly who's helping him. The person answered on the first ring. Yeah? It's me. I need information on Kazuma Ito's financials. Who's been paying him? Rikuya's voice shifted. Colder, more authoritative. And I need it in the next hour. That's a tight turnaround. I'm aware. Can you do it or not? A pause. For you. Yeah, but you'll owe me. Add it to my tab. He ended the call. Nariya studied him. This version of Rikuya felt different. Sharper, more dangerous. The protective man from last night had shifted into something harder, a weapon with a purpose. Who was that? She asked. Someone who specializes in finding things people want hidden. He stood, paced, energy coiled tight in every movement. Kazuma's not smart enough to plan this alone. Someone's funding him, directing him. Why would anyone do that? To get to me. He stopped at the window, scanned the tree line. My family's been in New York for 3 generations. We've made allies and enemies. Kazuma's just a tool. The real threat is whoever's holding the handle. A chill ran through her. This wasn't about a restaurant manager's wounded ego. This was bigger, deeper. She'd stumbled into a war she didn't understand. Rikuya? Her voice came out small. What exactly does your family do? He turned, met her eyes. For a moment, she thought he might lie, deflect. But instead, he gave her the truth. We control supply chains, imports, exports, logistics. Each word was careful, measured. Sometimes those shipments are legal, sometimes they exist in gray areas, and sometimes... He paused. Sometimes they cross lines. Governments draw, but everyone ignores. You're telling me you're criminals. I'm telling you we operate in spaces where law and necessity overlap. His expression didn't change. And yes, by some definitions, that makes us criminals. Nariya should have been afraid, should have demanded he take her back to the city, back to her apartment, back to anything that made sense. But all she felt was tired. I just wanted to work, she whispered. I just wanted to survive. I know. He crossed the room, knelt in front of her chair so they were eye level. And I'm sorry you got pulled into this, but I need you to understand something. What? The people who helped Kazuma, they won't stop with him. They'll come for you, for Amara, for anyone connected to me. His hands found hers, warm, steady. The only way you stay safe is if we eliminate the threat completely. You mean kill them? I mean neutralize them. He squeezed gently. However, that needs to happen. And if I say no, if I say I won't be part of this, then I put you on a plane to somewhere far away. New identity, new life, money to start over. His eyes searched hers. And you never see me again. The offer was genuine. She could hear it in his voice. He'd let her go, let her disappear, save herself. But Amara would still be in danger. Kazuma would still be hunting. And Rikuya would face this alone. What do you need from me? She asked quietly. Relief flashed across his face. Brief, but real. I need you to trust me for 48 more hours. Stay here. Stay hidden. Let me handle this. That's it? Just hide? Just survive. He stood. Sometimes that's the bravest thing you can do. His phone buzzed. The burner? He answered, listened. His jaw tightened. You're certain? No, that makes sense. Yes. Send everything to the secure server. He hung up, looked at Naraya. We have a problem. What kind of problem? The person funding Kazuma is my brother's future father-in-law. The words came out flat. Dead. The wedding isn't an alliance. It's a trap. Naria's mind reeled. Your brother's getting married to someone whose father wants you dead? Appears so. Rikuya was already moving, grabbing weapons from a safe hidden behind a painting. Guns, knives, things she didn't have names for. Which means the wedding tomorrow isn't about family. It's about eliminating rivals. Does your brother know? Doubtful. He's always been the idealist. Believes love conquers politics. Bitterness crept in. But he's walking into an execution dressed as a celebration. So we warn him. We can't. Rikuya checked the magazine on a handgun. Smooth. Practiced. He won't believe me. He thinks I'm paranoid. Controlling. He'll assume I'm sabotaging his happiness. Then what do we do? He looked at her, and in his eyes she saw the plan forming. Dangerous. Reckless. Probably insane. We go to the wedding, he said, and we burn it down before it burns us. Would you go to a wedding knowing it's a trap? Let us know in the comments. 22 hours until the wedding. Rikuya's safe house had become a war room. Maps covered the dining table. Photos, floor plans, security details. Everything about the venue spread out like a tactical assault. Naraya watched him work. He'd been awake for 36 hours straight, coffee cup perpetually in hand, phone calls in Japanese, English, and languages she didn't recognize. Coordinating, planning, preparing. You need to sleep, she said. I'll sleep when you're safe. He marked another exit on the floor plan. Right now, I need to figure out how to get us both into this wedding alive. Us? She straightened. I'm not going. You are. He didn't look up. Because if I leave you here, Kazuma will find you. He's proven he has resources. Connections. The safest place for you is next to me. At a wedding designed to kill you? At a wedding where everyone will be watching me. He finally met her eyes. Which means they won't be watching you. And if things go wrong, I need you to run. Get out. Call this number. He slid a card across the table. They'll extract you. Take you somewhere. Even I can't find you. The card was blank except for a phone number. No name, no company. Just 10 digits that supposedly led to salvation. Who are these people? She asked. Friends my father made before he died. People who owe my family debts that can't be repaid in money. He returned to his maps. They'll protect you. No questions asked. And what happens to you? I handle what needs to be handled. His tone left no room for argument. But I need to know you'll survive this. That's the only thing that matters. Naria's chest tightened. This man, this stranger who'd crashed into her life 72 hours ago, was willing to die to keep her safe. It didn't make sense. Didn't fit any pattern she understood. Why? The question came out broken. Why does my survival matter more than yours? Rikuya stopped. set down his pen, turned to face her fully. Because I've spent my entire life being a weapon, he said quietly. And weapons don't get to choose their targets. They don't get to rest. They don't get to be human. He crossed the space between them. But when you looked at me, when you treated me like I was worth basic kindness, something shifted. For the first time in years, I remembered what it felt like to be more than violence. That's not a reason to die for me. No. He cupped her face, thumbs brushing her cheekbones. But it's a reason to make sure you live. Because if someone like you can exist in this world, someone good and kind despite everything trying to break you, then maybe there's hope for people like me too. Tears burned hot. She didn't want to cry, didn't want to be weak. But his words carved through every defense she'd built. I'm not good, she whispered. I'm just surviving. That's the same thing. He pressed his forehead to hers, gentle, intimate. And I'm going to make sure you keep surviving, no matter what it costs. His phone rang. He pulled back, answered, listened. His expression went dark. When? How many? Understood. Tighten security on Amara. Nobody gets within 50 feet. He hung up, looked at Naraya. Kazuma just tried to breach the safe house in Atlanta. Her heart stopped. Is Amara? She's fine. My team stopped him before he got close. But he knows where she is. Rikuya's jaw clenched. Which means his employer has access to my security network. There's a leak. There's a traitor. He grabbed his jacket. And I'm going to find them. Where are you going? To have a conversation with my head of security. He checked his weapon. Stay here. Doors are reinforced. Windows are bulletproof. You'll be safe. You said the safest place was next to you. That was before I knew someone on my payroll is trying to kill us. He moved toward the door. I can't protect you if I'm watching my back, so I need you to stay here. Lock the door. Don't open it for anyone except me. Rikuya, promise me. He turned, desperate. Please, promise me you'll stay here. She wanted to argue, wanted to demand he take her with him, but the fear in his eyes stopped her, real fear, for her. I promise, she whispered. He kissed her forehead, quick, fierce. Then he was gone. The door closed, locks engaged. Silence pressed down heavy. Naria stood in the center of the empty safe house, alone, surrounded by maps and weapons and plans she didn't understand. Her phone, the new one Rikuya gave her, sat on the table. She picked it up, scrolled through contacts. Only 3 numbers. Rikuya, Amara, and the emergency extraction line. She called Amara. Hello. Her sister's voice sounded small, scared. It's me, Naria said. Are you okay? Ria? Relief flooded through the line. Oh my God. Where are you? These men showed up and said someone was trying to hurt me and I'm in some apartment with guards outside and nobody will tell me what's happening. I know. I'm sorry. It's complicated. Complicated? Ria, I'm terrified. Who's trying to hurt me? Why are there men with guns protecting me? Her voice cracked. What did you do? The accusation stung because she hadn't done anything except exist, except try to survive, except say no to a man who couldn't accept rejection. My boss at the restaurant, he's dangerous, he's angry at me, and he's using you to get to me. Naraya forced herself to stay calm. But you're safe. The people protecting you work for someone who's helping us. Helping us how? Ria, this is insane. We should call the police. The police can't help. Not against men like Kazuma. Not against families like Rikuya's. Just trust me, please. Stay where you are. Do what the guards say, and in 2 days, this will be over. Promise? Naria wanted to promise, wanted to guarantee her sister's safety. But she'd learned promises were luxuries she couldn't afford. I'll do everything I can, she said instead. That's not the same thing. I know. Tears spilled hot. But it's all I've got. They talked for 20 more minutes. Naria lied about where she was, lied about being safe, lied about everything except loving her sister more than anything in the world. When they hung up, The silence returned, heavier, suffocating. Naraya moved to the window, stared out at the trees. Shadows stretched long as afternoon bled toward evening. Somewhere out there, Rikuya was interrogating his own people, finding out who'd betrayed him, and tomorrow they'd walk into a wedding designed to destroy them both. Her phone buzzed. Text message, unknown number. Enjoying your last night alive? The photo attached showed the safe house. From outside. Recent. The angle captured the exact window she stood at. Someone was watching. Right now. Naria's breath stopped. She dropped to the floor. Away from the window. Heart slamming against her ribs. Another text. Rikuya can't protect you from everywhere, and he's not here now, is he? She crawled toward the table, grabbed the gun Rikuya had left. Her hands shook so hard she nearly dropped it. A knock on the door, soft, almost polite. Naria, I know you're scared, but I just want to talk. Kazuma's voice, calm, reasonable, like they were old friends. We can end this peacefully, he continued. You come out. We have a conversation. And maybe, just maybe, your sister stays safe. Naria's mind raced. Rikuya said, don't open the door. Said stay hidden. But Kazuma was here, now, and Rikuya was miles away. I'm counting to 10, Kazuma said. And then I stopped being nice. 1. She looked at the emergency number. Should she call? Would they arrive in time? 2. The gun felt heavy, unfamiliar. She'd never fired a weapon in her life. 3. Windows were bulletproof. Doors were reinforced. But Kazuma sounded confident, like he knew something she didn't. 4. Her phone buzzed. Rikuya. On my way, 8 minutes out. Do not open the door. 8 minutes. A lifetime. 5. Kazuma, leave, she called out. You don't want to do this. He laughed. Don't I? You cost me everything, Naria. My job, my reputation, my future. All because you thought you were too good for me. 6. I never thought that. I just said no. Same thing. His voice hardened. Women like you. You think you can reject men like me without consequences. But I'm teaching you different. 7. The police are coming, she lied. Rikuya called them. No, he didn't. Because Rikuya doesn't call police. He handles things himself. Another knock. Which is why I came while he's gone. 8. Naria aimed the gun at the door. Her hands wouldn't stop shaking. Please don't make me shoot you, she whispered. 9. Silence. Heavy. Terrible. Then, a different sound. Not from the door, from the back of the house. Glass breaking, multiple windows, simultaneous. He wasn't alone. 10. The front door exploded inward. Not kicked. Blown. Explosive charge. Wood and metal shredded. Smoke filled the room. Figures poured through. 3, 4, maybe more. Dressed in black. Faces covered. Naria fired. The gun kicked hard. She missed. Fired again. Someone screamed. Hands grabbed her. She fought, kicked, clawed. The gun was ripped from her grip. Kazuma's face appeared through the smoke, grinning, triumphant. Got you. Everything went dark. Is this the end for Naraya? Comment your thoughts below. Consciousness returned in pieces. Pain first. Her head throbbed where someone had hit her. Then cold, concrete floor beneath her cheek. Then fear, the kind that made breathing difficult. Naraya opened her eyes. Warehouse. Just like the video. Broken windows, graffiti, the distant sound of trains. She was tied to a chair, rope cut into her wrists, her ankles, professional knots. Whoever did this knew what they were doing. She's awake. A voice. Male, not Kazuma. Footsteps approached. Expensive shoes, Italian leather, the kind Rikuya wore. A man stepped into view. Older, 50s maybe. Silver hair, tailored suit. The face of someone accustomed to power. Miss Brooks. He smiled. Warm, friendly, terrifying. I apologize for the rough handling. My associates can be Overzealous. Who are you? Her voice came out hoarse. Hiroshi Tanaka. I'm the father of Rikuya's future sister-in-law. He pulled up a chair, sat across from her like they were having tea. And I'm the man who's going to use you to destroy the Hanzo family. Naria's blood went cold. The wedding. The alliance. Everything Rikuya had suspected was true. He'll kill you for this, she said. Will he? Hiroshi tilted his head. That's the question, isn't it? Because Rikuya has two choices now. Come to the wedding alone and watch his brother marry into a family that will slowly poison the Hanzo legacy. Or come to rescue you and miss the wedding entirely, leaving his brother vulnerable. That's not a choice, that's a trap. All choices are traps, Miss Brooks. We just prefer some cages to others. He leaned forward. Tell me, what is it about you that makes Rikuya Hanzo, a man famous for his cold calculation, abandon reason? I don't know what you mean. Don't you? He gestured around. He's diverted resources, pulled security from critical operations, made himself vulnerable. All for a woman he met 72 hours ago. His eyes narrowed. That's not protection. That's obsession. You're wrong. Am I? Then why are you here instead of safely hidden? He stood, paced. Because he made a mistake. Let emotion cloud judgment. And now you'll pay the price for his weakness. Kazuma emerged from the shadows, still grinning, still triumphant. He looked worse than the last time she'd seen him. Bruises, cuts, dried blood on his collar, like he'd been in a fight. Can I have her now? He asked Hiroshi. You promised. Patience. Hiroshi's tone sharpened. She's bait, not a toy. Just a few minutes. I want her to understand what she cost me. No. Absolute, final. Kazuma's expression darkened, but he stepped back. Fists clenched, rage barely contained. Naria's stomach turned. She knew that look, had seen it before. The look of a man who believed he owned something he'd never possessed. Rikuya will come for me, she said quietly. I'm counting on it. Hiroshi checked his watch. In fact, he should receive my message right about now. As if on cue. Somewhere in the warehouse, a phone rang, loud, echoing. Hiroshi answered. Put it on speaker. Hanzo. His voice was pleasant. I have something of yours. Silence. Then Rikuya's voice. Cold, dead, controlled. If you've heard her, she's alive, unharmed, for now. Hiroshi smiled at Naraya. But her continued well-being depends on your choices. Name your price. No price, just a decision. Hiroshi began pacing again. Your brother's wedding starts in 6 hours. You can attend, play the dutiful brother, smile for photos, pretend our families are united. Or you can come here and try to save this woman. But you can't do both. That's not a choice. Of course it is. Family or... He paused. What is she to you exactly? An employee? A responsibility? Or something more? More silence. Naria could hear Rikuya breathing. Could imagine his jaw clenched, mind calculating. Let me talk to her, Rikuya said finally. Hiroshi held the phone toward Naraya. Rikuya? Her voice shook. Naria. Relief flooded through that single word. Are you hurt? No, I'm okay. Did they touch you? No. Good. Something shifted in his tone. Listen to me carefully. Whatever happens, don't be afraid. What does that mean? It means I'm coming for you, and I'm bringing hell with me. The call ended. Hiroshi looked amused. Dramatic, but predictable. You don't know him, Naria said. Don't I? I've studied Rikuya Hanzo for 3 years, watched him, learned his patterns, his weaknesses. He leaned close. And you're his greatest weakness. Because for the first time in his life, he cares about something more than duty. You sound jealous. His expression flickered. Jealous? No. Disappointed, perhaps. I expected better from the infamous Hanzo enforcer. Instead, I get a love-sick fool. He's not a fool. Then what is he? Someone who actually gives a damn about people. Naria held his gaze. Something you clearly don't understand. Hiroshi's smile vanished. You think compassion is strength? That caring makes him dangerous? He grabbed her chin, forced her to look at him. Let me teach you something about power, Miss Brooks. The men who win are the men who sacrifice anything, everything, without hesitation. Then you've already lost. Have I? Because Rikuya's not coming alone. And when he gets here, he won't be the one sacrificing. Doubt flickered across Hiroshi's face. Brief, but real. Kazuma laughed. Nervous. She's bluffing. Hanzo's good, but he can't take on all of us. Can't he? Naraya's heart pounded, but she kept her voice steady. You really think the man who built a network across 3 continents doesn't have contingency plans? Enough. Hiroshi released her, stepped back. Secure the perimeter. Double the guards. I want eyes on every entrance. Men scrambled. Orders barked. The warehouse transformed into a fortress. But Naraya could feel it. Something building. A storm on the horizon. Rikuya was coming. And God help anyone in his way. Somewhere outside, an engine roared. Then another, and another. Hiroshi's phone rang. He answered. Listened. His face went pale. How many? That's impossible. Like, stop them. He hung up. Looked at Naraya. What did he do? What he always does. She smiled. What's necessary? The warehouse doors exploded open. Do you think Rikuya will save her in time? Drop your predictions in the comments. The doors didn't just open, they disintegrated. Shaped charges, precision, military grade. Smoke poured through like fog rolling off water. Then, movement, fast, coordinated. Figures in tactical gear swept inside. Not police, not military. Something else. Something private. Something expensive. Gunfire erupted. Hiroshi's men returned fire. Muzzle flashes lit the darkness. Bullets sparked off metal. Someone screamed. Naraya pressed herself low in the chair. Tried to make herself small. Invisible. Rope bit into her wrists. Through the smoke, a figure moved different. Calm, purposeful. Cutting through the chaos like a knife. Rikuya. He wasn't dressed tactical. Still wore his suit. But he moved like he'd done this 1,000 times. Gun in one hand, something else in the other, small, metallic, blinking red. A detonator. Hiroshi! His voice cut through the gunfire. Let her go. Now. Hiroshi appeared behind Naraya, grabbed her chair, used her as a shield. Cold metal pressed against her temple. A gun. Come any closer and she dies, Hiroshi called out. Rikuya stopped. 15 feet away. His eyes locked onto Naria's. Something passed between them. Understanding. Trust. You're not going to kill her, Rikuya said calmly. No. No, because she's your only leverage. The second she's dead, I have no reason to hold back. You're outnumbered. Am I? Rikuya gestured around. Count your men, Hiroshi, then count mine. Hiroshi looked. Really looked. His face drained of color. Bodies on the ground. His security team, down. Disabled. Rikuya's people controlled every exit, every vantage point. The takeover had been surgical, complete. How? Hiroshi's voice shook. You studied me for 3 years, learned my patterns, my weaknesses. Rikuya stepped closer. But you forgot the most important thing. What's that? I'm my father's son. His expression went cold. And my father taught me to always have a bigger army. Kazuma appeared from behind a crate. Panicked. Desperate. He had a gun pointed at Rikuya's back. Don't move! Kazuma's hands shook. I'll shoot! I swear I'll... A shot rang out. Kazuma dropped. Not dead. Leg wound. He screamed. Writhed on the concrete. One of Rikuya's people lowered her rifle, nodded at her boss. Traitors go first, Rikuya said quietly. Always. Hiroshi's gun pressed harder against Naraya's head. I can still kill her. Still take something from you. You could. Rikuya raised the detonator. But then I trigger this, And the charges I planted under your daughter's reception hall detonate. Your family, your guests, your entire legacy, gone. Naria's breath caught. He wouldn't. Would he? Hiroshi's eyes widened. You're bluffing. Am I? Call my father's associates. Ask them about the Osaka incident. Ask them what I did when someone threatened my mother. Silence. Terrible. Heavy. You were 15, Hiroshi whispered. I was protecting family. Rikuya's thumb moved over the detonator button. Now I'm protecting her. Want to test which I value more? The calculation happened in real time. Hiroshi weighed his options. Pride versus survival. Revenge versus family. The gun lowered. Smart choice. Rikuya gestured. Two of his people moved forward. Secured Hiroshi, cut Naraya free. She collapsed forward. Rikuya caught her before she hit the ground. I've got you, he murmured against her hair. I've got you. You came. Her voice broke. Always. He pulled back, checked her for injuries. Did they hurt you? No, I'm okay. She looked at the detonator in his hand. Is that real? Did you actually plant bombs at the wedding? His expression was unreadable. What do you think? I think you're bluffing. He smiled. Sad? Tired? Maybe. Or maybe I'd burn the world to keep you safe. Guess we'll never know. Sirens wailed in the distance. Police, real ones this time, coming fast. We need to move, one of Rikuya's people said. NYPD is 3 minutes out. Take Hiroshi to the secondary location. Make sure he understands the terms of our new arrangement. Rikuya helped Naraya to her feet. And get Kazuma to a hospital. I want him alive to stand trial. Trial? Naraya asked. I thought you'd... Kill him? Rikuya's jaw tightened. I wanted to. God knows I wanted to. But you asked me not to. Said real power is protection, not punishment. She had said that. Days ago, a lifetime ago. So I'm giving him to the system. Let the law handle him. He cupped her face. But if he ever comes near you again, all bets are off. They moved toward the exit, fast but careful. Outside, 3 black SUVs waited. Engines running, drivers ready. What about the wedding? Naraya asked. Already handled. Rikuya helped her into a vehicle, climbed in beside her. My brother knows everything. The engagement is off. The alliance is dead. And Hiroshi's family is about to learn what happens when you threaten a Hanzo. You're going to destroy them. I'm going to make sure they never threaten anyone again. He pulled her close. But first, I'm getting you somewhere truly safe. The SUV drove fast. North. Away from the warehouse. Away from the police. Away from everything. Naraya leaned against Rikuya's shoulder, exhausted, traumatized, but alive. I thought I'd never see you again, she whispered. I told you, I don't fail people I've given my word to. Even when it costs everything? Especially then. He kissed the top of her head. You're worth it. Her phone, somehow still in her pocket, buzzed. Text from Amara. Guard said I can go home. What's happening? Are you okay? Naraya typed back. I'm okay. Going home soon. Love you. Love you more. She tucked the phone away. Looked up at Rikuya. This man who'd appeared in her life like a storm, who'd protected her, fought for her, risked everything for a woman he barely knew. What happens now? She asked. Now? He met her eyes. Now you decide. Decide what? If you want to go back to your old life, new restaurant, new city, clean break, I'll make sure you and Amara have everything you need. He paused. Or you stay with me and we figure out what this is between us. Her heart hammered. You're giving me a choice. I'm giving you freedom, because that's the only thing worth giving. Naraya studied his face, saw the hope hidden beneath the control, the vulnerability wrapped in strength. She should say no, should run. Should protect herself from a man whose world was violence and shadows. But when she looked at him, she didn't see danger. She saw home. Ask me tomorrow, she whispered. when I can think straight. He smiled. Real? Genuine? Tomorrow, then. The SUV climbed into the hills. Dawn broke behind them, pink and gold washing away the darkness, and for the first time in days, Naria felt something other than fear. She felt possibility. What would you choose? Comment your thoughts below. Sunlight poured through the safe house windows. Warm, gentle. Nothing like the cold warehouse lights from last night. Naraya woke slowly, body aching, mind foggy, but safe. She was in the guest room, tucked under blankets that smelled like cedar and something else, something masculine. Rikuya must have carried her here when she'd fallen asleep in the car. Voices drifted from the living room. She wrapped herself in a robe, padded barefoot down the hall. Rikuya stood at the window, phone pressed to his ear, suit jacket gone, sleeves rolled up, exhaustion carved into every line of his body. I don't care what he offers. Hiroshi doesn't get to negotiate. Because I said so. Fine. Give him 24 hours to liquidate his New York holdings. After that, I want him and his family gone, permanently. He ended the call, turned, saw her. His expression softened immediately. You're awake. Couldn't sleep anymore. She moved closer. Is it over? It's over. He set his phone down. Hiroshi's cooperating. Kazuma's in police custody, facing 15 charges. Your name's been kept out of everything. And Amara's back home with private security. Just like that? Just like that. He smiled. Tired but genuine. Welcome to what happens when powerful men realize they've lost. Naria sank onto the couch. The weight of the last 4 days crashed down. She'd been kidnapped, threatened, used as bait, and somehow survived. I keep thinking I'm going to wake up, she whispered. That this was all some insane dream. I wish it was. Rikuya sat beside her, careful to leave space. You shouldn't have had to go through any of this. But I did. And now I'm here. She looked at him. Really looked. Past the tattoos and the danger and the wealth. With you. For now. His voice held careful neutrality. But like I said last night, you get to choose what happens next. The choice. Freedom or whatever this was between them. Naria had spent her entire life making practical choices, safe choices. Work hard, pay bills, protect Amara. Survive another day. Romance was a luxury she'd never been able to afford. But Rikuya wasn't offering romance. He was offering something else. Partnership, protection, a chance to stop fighting alone. Can I ask you something honestly? She said. Always. Why me, really? You could protect anyone. Save anyone. Why did you care so much about protecting me? Rikuya was quiet for a long moment. Outside, birds sang. The morning felt impossibly peaceful after the chaos. My mother used to work in a restaurant, he said finally. Before she married my father, she was a server, kind to everyone. Smiled even when customers were cruel. Worked herself to exhaustion to send money back to her family in Osaka. You said she died. She did, when I was 17. My father's enemies used her kindness against her, pretended to be friends, gained her trust, then used her to get to him. His jaw clenched. She died protecting me, stepped between me and a bullet meant for my father. Naria's chest tightened. I'm sorry. I spent years wishing I'd been stronger, faster, better. He looked at her. And then I saw you at that restaurant, smiling at rude customers, working yourself to exhaustion, being kind even when the world gave you every reason not to be. And it was like watching her all over again. So I remind you of your mother. No. He shook his head. You remind me of what I failed to protect. And I couldn't fail again. Wouldn't. His hand found hers. But somewhere between protecting you and getting to know you, something changed. You stopped being a memory, started being... What? Everything I didn't know I needed. The words hung between them. Raw, honest. Terrifying. Naria's throat tightened. Rikuya, I don't know how to be in your world. I barely survived 4 days of it. Then don't be in my world. Let me be in yours. That's not how this works. You can't just walk away from. She gestured vaguely. Whatever your family is. I'm not walking away. I'm delegating. My brother's ready to take over more responsibilities. I've earned the right to step back. Live differently. He squeezed her hand. If that's what you want. What I want. A broken laugh escaped. I want to not be terrified every time my phone buzzes. I want my sister safe. I want to work without being harassed. I want. Her voice cracked. I want to feel safe enough to want more than survival. Then let me give you that. He pulled her closer. Not as payment, not as debt, just as. He hesitated. As someone who wants to see you happy more than he wants anything else. Tears spilled hot down her face. You barely know me. I know you're kind when the world is cruel, strong when everything tries to break you, brave enough to look danger in the eye and demand better. His thumb brushed her cheek. And I know that when you smile, really smile, it feels like the sun coming out after years of rain. That's the most ridiculous thing anyone's ever said to me. Doesn't make it less true. She should pull away, should protect her heart, should remember that fairy tales didn't happen to girls from Atlanta who served overpriced pasta to pay rent. But his eyes held hers, warm, certain, offering something she'd never dared to reach for. Hope. One condition, she whispered. Anything. No more guns, no more warehouses, no more violence. She held his gaze. If I stay, I need normal, or as close to normal as we can get. Done. I'm serious, Rikuya. I can't live in fear. You won't. His voice was absolute. I'll handle business quietly, safely. You'll never have to see that side again unless you choose to. And Amara? Private school, college fund, security that's invisible but always there. He smiled. She'll be safer than the president's daughter. You're bribing me with my sister's future. I'm investing in both of your futures. There's a difference. Naraya studied his face, looking for deception, manipulation, any sign this was too good to be true. All she saw was a man who'd proven, again and again, that he meant what he said. Okay, she breathed. Okay? I'll stay. Try this. See what happens. She pressed her forehead to his. But if you ever lie to me, if you ever put me or Amara in danger for your business, I won't. Promise. I promise. He kissed her softly, carefully, like she was something precious. On my mother's memory, on everything I am, I promise. The kiss deepened, gentle but certain. His hands cradled her face like she might disappear. Her fingers curled into his shirt, anchoring herself to this moment. This choice. This impossible man who'd fought hell to keep her safe. When they finally pulled apart, dawn had fully broken. The safe house glowed golden. Everything felt new, clean, possible. What happens now? She asked. Now, Rikuya smiled. Now I make you breakfast, and we start figuring out what normal looks like for us. You cook? I'm Japanese, of course I cook. She laughed, actually laughed. The sound felt foreign after days of fear, but good. Right. They moved to the kitchen. Rikuya pulled ingredients from the fridge. Eggs, rice, vegetables. His movements were precise, practiced. He'd done this 1,000 times. My mother taught me, he said, catching her watching. Said a man who can't feed himself can't take care of anyone else. Smart woman. The smartest. He cracked eggs into a bowl. You would have liked her. I think I would have too. They cooked together, her chopping vegetables while he managed the stove, talking about small things, normal things, favorite foods, childhood memories, dreams they'd forgotten they had. For the first time, Rikuya felt less like a dangerous stranger and more like a person. Complicated, scarred, but human. and Naria felt less like prey and more like a woman choosing her own path. Her phone buzzed, text from Amara. Security guy brought me Starbucks this morning. Is this my life now? Because I could get used to it. Also, who is he and why does he look like an action movie? Naria laughed, showed Rikuya the message. He grinned. That's Takeshi, former Tokyo police. Good man, little intense. My sister's 17. He's married with 3 kids, completely professional. He plated the food, but I'll remind him to tone down the action hero aesthetic. They ate on the balcony, watching the valley wake up. Birds, breeze, peace. This feels like a dream, Naria murmured. Good dream or a bad dream? Good. She leaned against his shoulder. Terrifying, but good. That's the best kind of dream. He wrapped an arm around her, the ones worth fighting for. Somewhere in the distance, her old life waited. Unpaid bills. A tiny apartment. The constant hustle to survive. But here, in this moment, she let herself imagine something different. A life where she wasn't just surviving, where she had a partner, where someone strong enough to face danger chose to use that strength to protect instead of harm. Rikuya, she said softly. Yes? Thank you. For everything. For showing up. For fighting. For giving me a choice. You don't need to thank me. Yes, I do. She turned to face him. Because you reminded me that I'm worth protecting. Worth fighting for. Worth more than just surviving. His eyes glistened. You are. You always were. I just helped you see it. They sat in comfortable silence. The future stretched uncertain but bright. There would be challenges, adjustments, learning to blend their worlds, but for now, this was enough. The sun climbed higher, warming everything it touched, and for the first time in years, Naraya Brooks felt something she'd almost forgotten existed. She felt safe. She felt seen. She felt loved. The nightmare was over, and the dream, the terrifying, impossible, beautiful dream, was just beginning. Rikuya's phone buzzed one last time. He glanced at it, smiled, turned it off. Everything okay? She asked. Everything's perfect. He pulled her closer. My brother sends his regards. Says anyone who makes me turn off my phone during business hours must be special. Am I? You're everything. And in that moment, surrounded by mountains and sunlight and peace, Naraya knew she'd made the right choice. Not the safe choice, not the practical choice, but the choice that made her heart beat faster and her soul feel lighter. The choice that led to him. So what do we do now? She asked. Rikuya smiled, that rare, genuine smile that transformed his entire face. Now, he kissed her forehead. Now we live. And they did. Thank you for joining us on Naria and Rikuya's journey. If this story moved you, inspired you, or made your heart race, please subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications so you never miss another story like this. Drop a comment below, sharing your thoughts. Your words inspire others and help us create more content that matters. What would you have done in Naria's position? What did you think of Rikuya's transformation? Share your story. Inspire someone else. And remember, sometimes the most dangerous thing you can do is let yourself be loved. We'll see you in the next story. Until then, stay safe, stay strong, and keep choosing courage over fear.